Peace and blessings. I hope you guys are doing well. All praises to the Most High of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And praises to our Melech King, Yahushua Mashiach. Excuse my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather, so I'm going to try to get through this as best as I can. I hope it's not too long, so I'm going to try to put, a little rush on it, because I feel like a lot of this is review for some people who do know this, and then for some it's not really review. But I can't, for the sake of time, go into detail about every single thing, because there's brothers and sisters out there who have YouTube channels who have posted this stuff up there, so you just kind of need to research and do the work. That's just pretty much it. But I have to bring this up because I'm trying to make a point with the 3 days of darkness that we see in scripture playing out. I need to reference these things only, just so I can make a point about the 3 days of darkness. Now, there is a 24-hour clock cycle that the Babylonians have been having us go by, with them saying that there is 24 hours in a day, when that is false. There's not 24 hours in a day. There is only 12 hours in a day. And scripture will tell us that. Okay, so it divides the light from the darkness, and the Most High did that at the beginning. As you can see here in Genesis chapter 1 through 5, we can see that. It specifically says, "And the Spirit of Yahuwah moved upon the face of the waters, and Yahuwah said, Let there be light. And there was light. And Yahuwah saw the light, that it was good. And Yahuwah divided the light from the darkness. And Yahuwah called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." Okay, so we know that already. Okay, we know that light has no fellowship with darkness. That's the reason why he separated it. And there is 12 hours on the clock cycle of light of day, and there's 12 hours on the clock cycle of night of darkness. And like I said, the Babylonians, all they did was bridge the two together. They merged it together and came up with this whole 24 hours in a day thing. And they have people thinking that you have literally 24 hours in a day, when that's not so at all. That's the reason why when you see them talk about in the scriptures 40 days and 40 nights, it's because 40 days is separated from the nights. The days is separated from the nights. You need to understand that, because if it was literally 24 hours in a day, then they wouldn't have been saying 40 days and 40 nights. They would have been saying 80 days. Okay. And furthermore, there would be 24 hours or 24 numbers on the clock. Why is there only 12 hours on the clock? Because if there's 24 hours in a day, then it should be 24 numbers listed on the clock or your little watch that you wear. Why isn't it? Because they're liars. They'll put it right there in front of your face. And there's 12 hours on the clock that we look at, in schools or at work or on your arm or on your wrist. There are 12 hours on that clock, but they're going to tell you that it's 24 hours in a day, when that's not so. Okay. So I need to prove my point. I'm going to leave this in the description box. Anything that I'm referencing, I'm going to leave in the description box so you can do your own research. I'll even reference a few videos as well. But I need this to make a point. So, Mark 15, verse 25 says, "And it was the third hour, and they impaled him." So you need to understand. Okay, like I said, there is 12 hours. 12 hours in the light of day cycle. So a new day does not start until the next morning. That is when the next day starts. And there's this whole, debate about, evening. Well, it's obvious that a new day can't start during evening. It does not, because evening is still a part of the light of day. Hello. So how can it start then? You know what I mean? So that's a whole nother different subject. But like I said, for the sake of time, I'm gonna have to stay on tangent. So it says, "And it was the third hour, and they impaled him." Okay, that's Mark 15:25. And Mark 15:25, they say they crucified him, but of course we know that is impaled. So it's the third hour. So if you count, because here's the thing, there's 6 hours of morning, and there's 6 hours of evening. And remember, evening is still a part of the light of day. So that's why it's 12 hours on the clock cycle of light of day. So you got from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because the sun rises, usually it's supposed to rise at 6 a.m. and the sun is usually supposed to set below the horizon at 6 p.m. Now there's many other factors or specifics that play or technicalities that play into it, like daylight savings and things like that, but usually it's supposed to be setting below the horizon at 6 p.m. Okay? And this is obvious because you'll see it even in the scriptures that I'm about to reference. Okay? So, this is important to note though, because when the enemy tries to pretend like it's 3 days of darkness, you gonna know real from fake is what I'm saying. Okay? You're gonna know real from fake. But it says, and it was the third hour and they impaled him. So you count 3 hours ahead. So that's 7, 8, 9. That's 9 a.m. in the morning. That's when they impaled him. That's the third hour. Okay? And then you go down to Mark 15, verse 33. And when the 6th hour came, darkness came over all the land until the 9th hour. This is very, very important to highlight. Okay? Because you count 3 more hours ahead. And it's already 9 a.m. when they impaled him, right? So darkness came upon the land when? We count 3 hours ahead. That's 10, 11, 12. That's the 6th hour. So that means that's noon. Okay, that's noon. That's the reason why they consider 12 is really the beginning of the evening. It's the beginning of the evening because 6 a.m. is the beginning of morning. Okay. And 12 noon is the beginning of evening. That is to say the ending of morning. That's why they say good afternoon. They say afternoon, making people think that it's really afternoon, but that's why some people just say noon. You know what I mean? Because it's really the beginning of evening and it's the end of morning. Okay? Because remember, I told you it was 6 hours of morning, 6 hours of evening. Okay? So that's really the beginning of noon. I'm sorry, the beginning of evening. Okay? I got to catch myself because I don't want to confuse anybody. And let me just show you guys. Let's see. Look, day. You see this? Early bright light of day, right? You see this. We see midnight, bewitching hour. See, because that's their clock cycle that they operate on. The enemy does. Witching hour, dead of night. Yes. Look, night, a period of darkness between sunset and sunrise. The beginning of this period, nightfall, the darkness of night, the dark, a condition or time of obscurity, ignorance, sinfulness, misfortune, etc. And look at the you see what they're doing? Like, it's all here. They know what they do. They know what they do. The long night of European history known as the Dark Ages. It says an evening used or set aside for a particular event, celebration, or other special purpose. That's the reason why a lot of their national pagan holidays, they always have an observation day. But really, if it's supposed to be an eve, why aren't they starting it at evening? Literally, they're literally, see, now the real pagans are actually watching it and keeping those wicked ass days and doing it at an evening of those days. But they're superimposing that upon everybody in Babylon to worship on those 24-hour day, the whole entire day. It's New Year's Day for you to worship. Day and night, day and night, day and night, evil, day and night, evil, day and night, evil, day and night. That's what they want. You see? And that's why the next day it's supposed to be their actual day, which is their ritualistic day, like Christmas or New Year's, so on and so forth. They have that day and they still want you doing it day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night, worshiping the enemy. So that's that. I had to show you that. So the 6th hour is 12 o'clock. what they call PM. That's why they say PM, and that lets you know that it's the beginning of evening. That's the reason why they put PM there. And if you go and you look up what does AM and PM mean, the anti meridium and the post meridium, you'll see exactly what they're saying. And they twist it. They'll tell you that it's 12 hours in the light of day without saying it, and they'll tell you that it's 12 hours in the night of darkness without saying it. So it'll all be conjecture so that you won't get it. Okay. And then if you go down to Mark chapter 15, same chapter, verse 34 and 37, it says, and in the ninth hour, at the ninth hour, Yehoshua cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is translated as, my El, why have you forsaken me? And Yehoshua cried out with a loud voice and breathed his last breath. So the ninth hour, you add 3 more hours to that. And what would that be? If you add 3 more hours to that, that'd be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock on the dot, right? On the dot. Okay. On the dot. 3 o'clock on the dot. So that means it's 3 more hours left on the 12 clock cycle of light of day left. Okay. And this is how you know for certain. And see, this person comes down and kind of briefly touches on it, but I'm going to show you. This is how you know for certain, because that's why they had to hurry up and prepare Yehoshua's body. Joseph had to go and get his body because the next day was the Sabbath, and it was actually, I think, Passover during that time. So the next day was a Sabbath. So he had to hurry up and get his body prepared, to go into the sepulcher before those last 3 hours were up, before nightfall, because by that point they needed to start preparing for the Sabbath, which would have been the next day. So they only had 3 more hours left on the 12-hour clock cycle of light of day. So they didn't want his body still up there, obviously, after night. And of course, the Pharisees and Sadducees were saying the same thing. So they had to get his body down. So they had to hurry up and do it before the Sabbath, because they didn't want to do that on a Sabbath. You know what I mean? And that's why Joseph had to hurry up and go and prepare his body and get it prepared to go into the sepulcher before those last 3 hours of light of day was over. And of course, because the Sabbath was the next day, and of course they were obeying the laws and statutes and commandments of the Most High, so they couldn't be doing any work or anything like that on the Sabbath day. So verse 42, it says, and now when the evening, that is to say evening, was come, because it was the preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath, right? So you can do all your cooking and stuff like that at night. That's fine. You can do all your preparation, cooking and stuff, so you won't have to do no work the next day. That's the whole point. And it says, Joseph of Arimathea, an honorable counselor, which also waited for the kingdom of Yah, came and went in boldly unto Pilate and craved the body of Yehoshua. You know why? Because he had to get his body prepared to go into the sepulcher before nightfall. Okay? This was very, very important to understand exactly the reason why they crucified him during the day. Okay? During the day. This is very, very important, because this type of parallel you're going to see play out in the end times. When he makes his before he makes his return, it's going to play out. Okay, it's going to play out as well. You're going to see the whole 3 days of darkness. And here's the thing: the enemy is going to try to manipulate people to try to make it seem like as if, it's about that time, when the reality is that that's just the enemy doing his signs and wonders. That's the reason why you got to ask yourself, why would China all of a sudden be boasting about them launching their artificial sun? They were talking about that back in 2011 when they were about to actually create one. They hadn't created one yet until they officially launched it in June. And then in January of 2022, that's when they were boasting about it, being hotter than the sun and things of that nature. And they also made mention in 2018 about them creating some type of artificial moon to light up the dark skies. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, why would they be making things like that? Because they need to perform the enemy needs to perform their signs and wonders. And I was talking about this, and I'm going to put that in the description box, the video that I was talking about, the Project Bluebeam and all that other kind of stuff, because this is all linked together. It is. All right? So it's very important to understand that. So let me go back up there because I want you guys to get it. What was that? The third hour. Okay, here we go. The third hour. Okay, so we know that was at 9 o'clock a.m. in the morning, right? And then if you go down, it says within the 6th hour. That means that was at noonday, which is the beginning of evening, 12 o'clock. That's when darkness came upon the land. And it said it came up over the whole land until the 9th hour. That means 3 o'clock. So darkness was up over the land for 3 hours. You see, numbers is everything. So you have to pay attention to that as well. And I feel like this is why a lot of our brothers and sisters need to really be searching these scriptures, because the Most High made sure that it was coded for us to understand it. He made it for other nations to understand it too, but their understanding only goes so far. It does, because we're the real ones who are only supposed to be touching this and teaching it, and supposed to be living it to try to show the other nations how they should be living and how they should be, worshiping the Most High. So it's coded for us to understand it. This is why you got to understand it's coded for a reason. So if darkness was upon the land for 3 whole hours, Yehoshua stayed dead for 3 days, right? Or he rose upon the 3rd day. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Because remember, it's like I said, a new day starts the next morning. That is to say, when the sun is rising above the horizon. That's when the new day starts. So when you talk about this 3 days of darkness, okay, I just want to touch on something for a second. I'm going to go back to this. John 8:12 says, Then spake Yehoshua again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. So he is the light. We know that. He is. He is the light. That's what he said. Okay? So the reason why darkness came up over the land was because obviously the word made flesh, that is to say the light of the world, was going out. His life. That's why darkness came up over the land for 3 whole hours. That is to say that literally no stars were given its light. No moon was given its light. The only thing that was lit up, if of course the villages, they had oil burning. So of course they had, fire and, sticks and things like that burning and oil. So that was the only thing that was, lighting up their cities at the time. But as far as the sky, if the sun darkened, the moon darkened, the stars darkened, it was completely dark. Because the light, that is to say the life, had went out. It had gone out. He had given up the ghost, and that was that. And it was like that for 3 whole hours. Okay? You're going to see that play out in the end times as well, when they talk about this whole 3 days of darkness. Okay? And that happens between the 5th and the 6th seal, because by that point they're going to be martyring the Most High's people, and the 2 witnesses, his 2 witnesses are going to be killed, at that 6th trump, 6th seal, because everything is sequenced perfectly, so that same thing is going to happen. There's going to be an earthquake. There was an earthquake even when they killed him. There was an earthquake. So it's important. And I can show you that actually. What is that? Was it Matthew? Right here, 27. See, look. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain, into 2, from the top to the bottom. Split. Just like, it's going to happen just like this. It's going to happen just like that. And the earth did quake and the rocks rent. See? So it was an earthquake when they killed him. It was. And just like with the two witnesses, you can go and read Revelation chapter 11 on how that's going to play out. Okay? And you got to, cross-examine the scriptures as well too, because I want to show a few things, as to why this is so important and why I have to highlight this, because the enemy, like I said, is going to try to fake at 3 days of darkness. That's why I said, why do you think they're making artificial anything like a sun, like a moon, like a star? Because the truth is that we know for certain that they're not leaving the earth. They're not. And since I'm on that subject, let me go ahead and bounce around a little bit. Okay. This is the first time, I think. Yeah. Look at this. It says China plans to launch an artificial moon to light up the night skies. This was October 19th, 2018. You see it dated there. Okay. Why would you got to ask yourself, why would they be wanting to light up the night skies? Why would they be wanting to illuminate it? It says the imitation celestial body essentially is an illuminated satellite which will bear a reflective coating to cast sunlight back to Earth, where it will supplement street lights as night. And they're calling it, well, we're just doing it so we can try to save and conserve energy. No, that's BS. That's BS. And then look at this. It's planning to launch an artificial moon in orbit by 2020 to illuminate city streets after dark. You got to ask yourself, why would they want to do that? Why would they need to do that? You see what I mean? Why would they want to do that? Is the moon not enough that from what we have that the Most High has given us, or the sun that he's given us? Is that not enough? Why would you have to do that unless you have nefarious powers? You know what I mean? You have these nefarious powers or these nefarious motives is what I really meant to say. So forgive me. That's what I really meant to say. It's the principalities and powers of this world, spiritual wickedness in high places. That's what this is about. And China, this is when they first launched it, the artificial sun. And it said June 4th is when this article came up. But you see that. And this is the new this neo power source that they're calling nuclear fusion. That's what they're calling it. Nuclear fusion, because they're trying to manipulate or trying to replicate the sun. By drawing energy from the quote unquote sun. Well, we know they can't do that. So they have to do it some other type of way. So how else do you think that they'll be able to stage a 3 days of darkness? How do you think they're going to do that? It's going to be with this this nuclear fusion, this power source. And remember, I told y'all I had a vision about an engine or some type of power source. And this was back in April of 2020. I told you guys this. So it's interesting that they're doing this whole thing now. So this is where you got to think about it, because they've talked a lot about them doing these talked about the grid going down. Remember, that's been like a thing for the longest, about the grid going down, the electrical grid going down. And you have to ask yourself, where are they getting all of this power source from? How are they going to be able to power these nuclear fusion reactors? That is to say, these false suns and false moons that they've created. How are they going to power these things? How do you think they're going to be able to power it? With what? With what? So yeah, the grid will go down, but it'll only be because of them using the mass amount of energy that they're going to need to power these nuclear fusion reactors, to pull off these staged events. That's what I'm saying. Okay? Because these will be staged. They're going to try to stage the 3 days of darkness. That's the whole thing. So it's just interesting to see them do that. Oh, that's the moon that they want to launch. See, and then this was January 2022. Where it says China switched on its artificial sun and it burned 5 times hotter than our actual sun. Right. Right. Yeah, right. Y'all don't even know how hot the sun really is. They're just a guesstimation. Because we know that y'all have never left this earth, right? We know that. And I'm just touch on that because a lot of you guys already know that. Okay, so the truth is that, you know, if they really believe that they're leaving, if y'all really believe that they got y'all tricked, because they really do, they got y'all tricked that bad, you got to ask yourself these questions, okay? Because at the end of the day, if they were really leaving this earth and traveling upward, okay? Up on a vertical, right? They were traveling up on a vertical, right? And they have these coordinates to go up, right? The rocket ship goes up. Then why is it when they quote unquote get to space and they try to show you all this false fake CGI and Hollywood video mess, why is it then do they rocket ships go on a slope? Why does it slope when it goes to space? Why does it slope? I want to know why does it slope? Because I know y'all asses is not even going to space. That's what y'all call it. But why does it slope? Because if you're going up, right? There'll be no reason for you to slope. Because you'll just be going up on a vertical. There'll be no reason for you to slope. The only reason why you will slope is because something is flat. Okay? Flat. Just like a plane. A plane takes, right, on a flat surface, and then it gains propulsion until it gets up in the air and it remains on a slope. It doesn't keep, but of course it rises in altitude, but it's still remaining on a slope. The same thing with the rocket ship. They want you to believe that they can go and blast off light years away, right? Light years away. You got to ask yourself, then why do they slope? Eventually they slope. And that's because it obviously is flat. The earth is flat. It's not round. Okay? So that's what you need to understand. And then this is a new article that I came across. So this is important because after this, I'm going to read to you the vision that I had. I'm going to reread it because it's very important that I bring this up. Okay? It says that NASA's new shortcut to fusion power. This new power source, right? It's fusion. Nuclear fusion is what they're calling it, right? This is what it is. It says the extraction from energy from nuclear fission, by contrast, happened relatively quickly. Fission in uranium was discovered in 1938 in Germany, and it was only 4 years until the first nuclear power was constructed in Chicago. So remember, I told you this is just a neo way of calling it. They're calling it neo. They're calling it nuclear fusion, right? Nuclear fusion power. Okay, so they've had access to this. They were calling it something different back then, though. Okay, and look at this. It says more than a century ago that the fusion, oh my God, the fusing of hydrogen into helium powers the sun. It took researchers many years to unravel the secrets by which lighter elements and smash together into heavier ones inside stars, releasing energy in the process. And scientists and engineers have continued to study the sun's fusion process in hopes of one day using nuclear fusion to generate heat or electricity. But the prospect of meeting our energy needs this way remains elusive. Look at that. See? So the only way they're going to be able to power this, right, is to withdraw energy, because they're not getting it from the sun. They're not getting it from the moon. And it's not just coming out of thin air. They're getting it from somewhere. Okay, that's all I'm saying. They're getting it from somewhere. They just want us to think that they're getting it from stars and all this other stuff when they're not. They're going to be drawing the power directly from the electrical grid. Okay? And it's just that simple. All right, I'm going to read this vision or reread it again. I had this vision April 2020. It says, then I witnessed seeing this grid-like pattern power source that appeared or appealed to me as an engine. And the reason why I say engine is because it contracted in a good whiff of air and breath and then powered up like a light source. It was immensely bright and huge in stature. Now, mind you, I've already had this vision documented on video of me reading it to you guys. So I'm gonna put that in the description box as well. Okay, and then I go on to say, and when you hear me say then, these are transitional words because the visions are blended but sequenced. If that makes any sense. Then I see a dome-like facility surrounded by green pastures and very detailed routes of operation as it pertains to the outskirts amongst the facility, like pathways. This facility or base seemed like it was very isolated. And then almost immediately, I saw the crown of the building transform into a nano-shaped disc. Now remember, I was telling you guys on my last channel that they are going to be ready to manifest themselves in this whole, with these whole UFO chariots and all that other type of stuff. So keep in mind about that too, because all this will be one and the same. This whole China thing with their artificial sun and artificial moon and stuff like that, that's not for nothing. This is all going to be one and the same when they try to stage whatever it is that they're going to stage. The 3 days of darkness, this whole alien contact or alien invasion crap, all of that is going to be one and the same. Okay? So you need to be able to catch it when it happens. I go on to say, with a circumference of 360, but it exceeded a little over the mass of the facility. This crown began to spin counterclockwise in an untraceable motion, then hovers on top of the facility, and before it takes off with immeasurable speed, it dissolves into multiple factions. So it splits up into multiple pieces, almost as if like you know how Mothership, if you've seen those videos, fake videos, with the whole Mothership, it divides up into multiple ones, little miniature, I guess you can say aircrafts. And then I said, then they all simultaneously disperse into multiple directions at once. So you see that big one, right? The top of the crown of the building, it hovers, then it breaks up into multiple miniature, aircrafts, and then they simultaneously disperse in multiple directions at once. And then I said, these discs were so thin and spinning so fast that one couldn't tell if it fit the appearance of a large CD disc or a wheel. That's how thin it was. Nonetheless, they were ominous and colored chrome/silver. And anytime I've read to you guys, after I've read this vision to you, and I've seen other forms of chariots or aircrafts, they've been chrome silver. That's been the thing, chrome silver, or they've been like I think I in one of my other videos on my other channel, I said one of them was like chrome silver or gold and like this Neptune blue color. I only use Neptune because it's like a color, not in reference to the planet that they think exists. Then I see one of them individually moving, like I said, at an immeasurable speed. Okay? Racing through the air and destroying everything in its path without a collection of debris. What I mean by this is it was destroying everything so fast that there was no time for a pile up because it all turned to dust. Supervened by this, I see an opaque sky that had the look of an apocalyptic essence. And in the midst of the sky, I see a yellow and black advanced looking drone that had 4 legs circling clockwise in the sky, firing yellow thunder and lightning. However, I could not see what was being destroyed below it. Okay? And remember I told y'all in a video, not too long ago, I posted the video. I said that It's important to note that, pretty soon when they start pushing out them attacker drones, because these things are literally constructed to kill, you better be leery. That's all I'm saying. So this is all connected. This is all one and the same. So when you see them do this, you need to know what's real from fake. That's all I'm saying. So I do believe that they're going to try to stage a 3 days of darkness. I do believe that. And you have to understand, because when the real 3 days of darkness happen, because it will happen, because he says it, okay, in his word. He says it in his word. Okay, let me just go to a few scriptures just so I can get you to understand what I'm talking about. This is Exodus 10:22, and it says, "And Moses stretched forth his hand toward heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days." Look at that, 3 days. You see that? You see how numbers are very, very important in Scripture? It is. It says over the land in Egypt 3 days. So this happened before Hamashiach stepped on the scene. So to see this play out as a parallel before it happens is amazing. You know what I mean? That's amazing. Because the truth is that when darkness comes up over the land, that's how you know death follows after it. Death cometh quickly right after it. Okay? That's how you know. Just saying. Let me see. I just had that just to make note of like the third hour and stuff like that, just so you'll know. But it was a okay, this is Matthew 24:29. "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken." Okay, so this is important to note. This is Revelation, what's this, 6? I think 12, yeah. "And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as the fig casteth her untimely fig. She is shaken of a mighty wind." Okay, so remember, when this is the same, it's a similar parallel that you see when they killed Hamashiach. Darkness came up over the land during the 6th hour, okay, and it lasted for 3 hours. But he stayed, remember, he rose on the 3rd day. And also, I showed you guys in Exodus when Moses cast forth his hand and darkness came up over the land for 3 days. Okay, so this is very, very important. Okay, and the reason why I bring up the fact that you need to pay attention to what these other nations are doing in terms of coming out with that stuff, like artificial this, artificial that, is because they're going to be performing their signs and wonders. And it's just that simple. They are. They're going to be performing their signs and wonders. And this is from the Apocalypse of Elijah. Okay. This is, I think, the 10th or 11th page. Yeah, this is the 11th page. It says, "But the son of lawlessness will begin to stand again in the holy places. He will say to the sun, fall, and it will fall. He will say, shine, and it will do it. He will say, darken, and it will do it. He will say to the moon, become bloody, and it will do it. He will go forth with them from the sky." Listen to this. He will go forth with them. The little noises and stuff. "He will go forth with them from the sky." Who is them from the sky? Hello? Who is them from the sky? This is what I'm telling you. It's all connected. All of it. It's all one and the same is going to happen simultaneously. I'm telling you. It says, "He will walk upon the sea and the rivers as upon dry land. He will cause the lame to walk. He will cause the deaf to hear. He will cause the dumb to speak. He will cause the blind to speak. The lepers he will cleanse. The ill he will heal. The demons he will cast out." But this is the one thing he won't be able to do. This is what he says down here. It says, "He will multiply his signs and wonders in the presence of everyone. He will do the works which the Christ did," Hamashiach,
except for raising the dead alone. In this you will know that he is the son of lawlessness, because he is unable to give life. For behold, I will tell you the signs of this man. You can go and read that if you want to. So yes, the only thing he will not be able to do is raise the dead. And if you see this person or this whatever try to make it look like they are raising the dead, know that it ain't gonna be no real person. Oh, what is it gonna be? AI, a robot, organic. It doesn't matter if it's organic material. I don't care what anybody says. It's not gonna be a real person. Period. I don't care. So you see, they're going to try to make it seem like as if it's going to be 3 days of darkness. But this is going to be brought upon the fact of them using their technology to bring about their signs and wonders. Because you need to understand, the Most High took away the fallen angels' ability to transform themselves, which is why they live on through our dreams and our imaginations. They plague our minds. Okay? As well as our bodies. Okay? That's why they're all in movies and everything. Some people, most know this. I'm just saying, I have to reiterate this stuff because a lot of people have forgotten. That's the reason why the Most High cursed Satan. He said, I curse you, and you're going to crawl up on the ground on your belly. So he can't transform. Them angels can't transform upon will, because if they did, if they were able to transform upon will like they were back then, like how the holy angels still have their ability to still transform upon will, the holy angels, not the fallen ones. The fallen ones don't, because if they still had that ability, do you think that they'll be able, would they need to use your body? Would they need to corrupt your mind? Would they need to corrupt your body, is what I'm saying. That is to say, to possess your vessel. Why would a spirit, you have to ask, why would a spirit need to possess your vessel? Because they ain't got nobody. And because you have physical dominion in this realm. That's what cursing Satan means in Genesis. Okay? That's why he lives on in our dreams. He lives on in our imaginations and our thoughts, plaguing us. That's why Hamashiach came up on the scene, casting out devils. Remember when them legions, they cried out and said, we know who you are. Don't cast us into, don't send us back to hell, basically. Please suffer us to cast us into the swine, the pigs. And he did. And the herd of pigs ran down the steep, down the hills into the deep, into the water, back to hell. Okay? So you got to think about these things. You do. The Most High allowed them to have this technology. He gave them the technology to do this. You know why? Because man has given up their dominion to Satan and his goons. So the Most High said, okay, great. Y'all want to worship them? Go ahead. Worship them. We'll see how far that gets you. That's the reason why he's going to allow for all this to happen, is because sin has abounded and iniquity has waxed. It has. It is waxed. So it's important to know that. Okay, so I only brought that up just for the sake of, just to show you that it's pretty much everywhere out there. It is. Okay, this is Revelation 16. It says, verse 10 says, and the fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness. It was full of darkness because obviously there will be darkness. Okay, I had to make that plain. I already said that. Let me see. Okay, and this is what's important. And the light of the candle shall shine no more at all in thee, And the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. I don't know why I don't say deceived, but whatever. But yeah, you get the point. That's the reason why I have to bring up when they crucified him, he is the way, the truth, and the light. He is the light, right? So he is the word made flesh. So once they killed him, the reason why darkness came up over the land, and this is what I'm saying, that it was a prelude, or it was played out before in Exodus, when the Most High commanded Moses to stretch forth his hands over Egypt, and darkness came up over the land for 3 days. Then you fast forward to when Hamashiach actually was crucified, darkness came up over the land, right? For 3 whole hours it landed. But of course he rose on the 3rd day. Okay, so this is very, very important. The same thing with the whole 2 witnesses, how they're going to remain dead for 3 days, as it's in scripture, as it says. Okay, so that is characterized by a great earthquake. Okay, after they arise is what I'm saying, and that will be the first resurrection. So it's not just going to be them, it's going to be those who make the first resurrection. And by that point, the ones who will be changed, they'll already be gathered. The ones who will be changed simultaneously, and that's what's going to happen. Then cometh the 3 days of darkness, the great voices and thunderings and lightnings and earthquakes and all this horrible wrath from the Most High. Then cometh that. Okay, so it's important to note that. And the reason why it says, and the candle of the light shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride, because obviously Yehoshua is the light. His spirit is upon his people, and it's within his people. All right, and that's the truth. So imagine, it's not going to shine no more. So the truth is not going to be out there. You're not going to have access to this anymore. They won't. The wicked won't. The wicked won't. There's a let me see if I can find it real fast, and I'm gonna get off of here. I might have to do a part 2 anyways, because I couldn't really talk about what I wanted to, and I went over my time, which sucks because I really didn't want to go this long. But hey, sometimes it be like that. This is Daniel 12, verse 10. It says, many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. Okay, so even in these dark days, the wicked ain't gonna understand nothing, because they gonna still be looking to their leaders and their the world, their idols that they've been worshiping for years, to try to render them some type of understanding, which will be nothing more than just guck, because we already know that they're gonna run their asses up underground and say, oh well, you know, mountains fall upon us or rocks fall upon us and hide us from the Holy One, or the one who sits upon the throne. Yeah. Because the truth is that, yeah, that's how it is. It'll be easier. Honestly, it'll be easier for them to just go ahead and hide your ass up on the ground, because it'll be easier to just go ahead and just beat you down, you know, just a few more, you know, feet below sea level, just to, you'll be there close to Hades or Gehenna, you know, or Sheol, and bam, you're there. So it's just something to keep in mind. So I just say, you know, I had to bring this up just to talk about a lot of the things that the enemy has in store. You know, they're going to try to manipulate a 3 days of darkness and make it look like as if, you know, it's the time, but really it's not. It is, but it ain't. You know what I mean? In the sense where it's not the time. No man know the daytime nor hour. He said not even the angels know, only but his Father knows. So once the Most High gives him the command, that's when it's going to be. But we already know. He didn't already gave us a season. He didn't already given us the signs to look for as well. So we have the signs, we have the seasons, and that's what we have to trust and believe in, that it is true and not be deceived. Because he said that if it were possible, that the very elect should be deceived, if it were possible. So peace and blessings. I hope that this was edifying. If you need me to clear up some stuff, I will, but just ask. Because I tried to do this to my best ability, but I knew I had to do this. I might have to do a part 2, and I will, Yah willing. But like I said, there is not 24 hours in a day. A day starts when the sun rises. A day ends when the sun sets. It's that simple. 12 hours on the clock cycle of light of day. 12 hours on the clock cycle of night of darkness. Okay? And it's just that simple. Peace and blessings. I hope you guys stay prayed up, steadfast, keep searching the scriptures. If you have something that I need to see or I need to study, please send it to me. Let me know, And stay strong, my brothers and sisters out there. Shalom.